Hello, everyone, and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. This evening, I am starting something new that I have not done yet, and you can probably tell by my thumbnail what it is. I am doing the Moda Blockheads 5. This is group 2. The first group started back in September. I had actually kind of signed up to do it then, but things came up and I didn't get to do it, but I have all of those patterns printed, so I hope to be able to get to those. But this is the Blockhead 5 Group 2 Block 1. They did have another block released this morning at 8 o'clock. This is kind of a block of the month, but it's a block of the week that releases every Wednesday at 8 a.m. There is a Facebook group, and I believe there's, you can go to the Moda website. Also, it has it on there. You can Google Blockhead 5, and you'll be able to find it. So let me just show you. This is called Dream Big by Sherry McConnell of A Quilting Life. What they do is they have multiple creators create a block or square. You can do a 6-inch or 12-inch, and I'm doing the 12-inch, but it is free. I want to reiterate that it is free. You use whatever fabric you want to use, preferably Moda if you are posting in the Moda group. So what I am using is, I kind of have it cut out. I do have it cut out over here. I'm using Beautiful Day by Yoder of Coriander Quilts. And you'll see I had quite a bit left over, so I just have it in this box right here. So when the block that come out today, when I print it, I may be able to do it with the same fabrics. If I can, I will, but this is going to be a scrappy quilt for me, and the group 2 actually ends right before the holidays, which I think they said it's going to be 40 something squares or blocks. So you don't have to do all of them. You don't have to do any. You can do one and make a pillow. It's up to you what you want to do with it. So if you are a beginner, this may be just the thing to learn new techniques. I know in the group 1, they did have foundation paper piecing. I have never done foundation paper piecing. I am going to learn how to do that this year. I will bring you guys along with me to have a new person perspective on how to do it. Or maybe not to do it, because I've never done it, so I don't know what it's going to look like. So just hang in with me. I'm about to bring you down to my sewing machine, and we're going to start on this block 1. Okay, on our instructions, it tells us on the wrong side of B, this is my B that I'm using here. So I have marked on the wrong side of B my diagonal lines. We are to take B and C. This is my C. It's just this quilty star. So what I am going to be doing is I am going to be putting same sides together of these, and I will be sewing on the drawn line, and this will make 2 half square triangles. Okay, since I am doing half square triangles, I do need to move my needle all the way over, and I will be sewing 1/4 of an inch on either side. I will be sewing 1/4 of an inch on both sides of this, so I can have a half square. I'll have 2 half square triangles. And I will just flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, once I have this done, I will cut on that center line. So we are going to make a total of 8 of these. So that means all 4 pieces that I have, I will do this and I will cut it. And yeah, I am going to tell you, it is so nice to be back sewing. I haven't sewn in a couple days. I've had a lot going on with grandbabies and family. Okay, now I am going to go press all of these and I will be right back. I now have all of these done. I have trimmed them down to the 2.5 inches. And our next step is we're going to lay out 2 A squares and 2 of the B. This is our BC half square triangles, and this is our A, and we are to lay out 2 A squares. So these are 2 A squares and 2 BC half square triangles. We're going to lay an A and an A, and then we're going to have the B's going here. So we will be making this block right here. I am just making sure that okay, so I will be doing 4 of those. So I'm going to go ahead, because these are for the corners, I'm going to go ahead and pair up 2 of the A's and 2 of the BC squares. And you'll notice my A and my B are the same. I think. No, my A and C are the same, and that's because that's an outside. It's just a difference in measurement. I'm trying to see how I want to sew them together. I'm probably just going to sew them over like this. So let me go ahead. I had them turned wrong, so it's a good thing I looked at it again. And I am going to fold them over, all of them over, and know that I have to sew on the right side. And what I'm going to do is sew the top one and then the bottom one of the first square, and then the top and bottom of the second, and so forth. And then I will put them together. So my first thing is make sure I have this lined up real well, and I'm sewing everything at 1/4 of an inch unless otherwise stated. Okay, I have them all pressed out. So now I am going to be making my squares here. So we'll take a top and a bottom, and we will nest the seam right there. I'm just going to slide this under the machine here. And if you feel like you need to put a pin in your nested seam, by all means do that. if that is what makes you most comfortable. I know when I started quilting, I would not have thought of doing it like this. And I'm still new, so I am going to make mistakes. I'm still learning. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning process for me, learning terms and things like that. And if you're new and you are having trouble with terms and things like that, go to Creative Notions. They do have, now I know this was the 2023 calendar. I don't know if they still have it, but it has like terms and things like that, quilting lingo, kind of, so to say. And I actually have mine right here beside me. I keep it right next to my sewing machine. And I can actually show it to you, so you don't think I'm just saying that. I actually have it right here. This, see, it's got all kinds of things in it, quilting acronyms and abbreviations, color shades. I keep that right here by my sewing machine. It is very, very helpful. So if you're new, go to Creative Notions, see if they have any of those calendars. Those will help greatly. And I know I'm doing a Moda Blockhead, but I believe in sharing resources with everyone. We're all in this together. We want to support the craft, and because there's so many things that we're losing because it's not shared. So now I have all 4 of my corner squares. So let's see how those nested, and I will trim these up as well. See how that nested right in the center? Okay, so I am going to go press these so we can get started on our next step. I now have this unit completed. These are our corner squares. So I think I have them turned the wrong direction, but that is okay because they can go either way. All of them will. So our next step is to take our E block, and on the wrong side of our E block, to draw a diagonal, which I have. That's our E block, our E squares. And then we are going to take our D. So I will put a square down here at the bottom. And it does look like they overlap. So the top one is going to overlap the bottom one. And, oops, it looks like we are to stitch on 1/4 inch. All the way. And I am going to turn this and stitch 1/4 inch on the opposite side. And this is where this comes in handy for me to draw that line, because I can't see my stitch line on my table with it this far out. But I can line the drawn line with my center point on my foot. And here I'm going to make sure that center point. I know this is a pair of scissors and not the best thing to be putting under my sewing machine foot. But it works. They're small and I keep them away from the needle area and the feed dog area. Okay. So now that we have those two done, we are to now cut straight down that center line. This makes a heart. I'm going to go ahead and press these so I can sew the next piece on. I now have these two pieces pressed, so our next thing is we are going to take the other two E squares. I think these are E, and we are going to put them on the base of this, and we will sew that as well. And we are going to sew this also 1/4 of an inch on each side of our drawn line. Now some people are going to be a lot more experienced than me and not have to put that drawn line, but if you're new, this does help, and I don't see myself not doing this anytime soon, because it does just feel better to do it this way. I feel like I'm more accurate. When I draw my lines. Now I think my seam might have just turned up on that one, but let me look. And that's something else you have to watch out. No, it did do good. Okay, so I will have to cut down the center for this, but let's get this one done before we do that. And I think these are going to be like a flying geese. I think that's what they're going to be. I have not read all the way through the pattern. I will admit I am very bad about that, and I know they say read all the way through your pattern. I don't do that. So yeah, I probably make it harder on myself than it should be. Oh, these are flying geese. Did I say flying hearts? I probably did. But these are flying geese. Now I will cut along this stitch line, and I will press these out as well. Okay, I now have my flying geese trimmed down. So they're not perfect, but I think they're pretty good for me still being a newbie. I'm not real experienced at the flying geese yet. Okay, so now using the F and G squares. So here's my F. And this is my G. I am going to draw a line on the back side of my G's. Okay, so we are going to do the same steps to make our flying geese. And I believe it was put the bottom one And then the top overlap, yes. I now have this set of flying geese completed. So now what we will do is take this is the E and D, and this is the F and G. And we are going to sew these together. Okay, I'm going to press these and I'll be right back. Okay, I've checked these and they do work good. They're measuring correctly. So our next step is on the wrong side of each I square, which these are our I squares. We draw a line and we are to take these I squares and put it on the H. So the first one we are going to do is going to go on the top right, top left. And once we finish sewing on the line, we are going to trim 1/4 inch away from the stitch line. And then what we'll do is we will go to the top right of the square, and stitch on the line. So what we're doing, we will be going around the whole square doing this. So I now have our 3 sets of squares done. So let's start putting them together. The very top row will be this position. Okay, pressed and ready to go. So now I am attaching these two, the top and the center. I've got that seam is nested. Okay guys, I have completed my block. It is not perfect at all. I state that because a lot of stuff does not come together, and that is okay with me. But this is my finished block. You can see That kind of puckered right there. It's okay. It's okay. Really, it is. And like that didn't come together. Some of them did. Some of my points came together. Some of it worked. Some didn't. But this is all learning for me. This is new, and I'm excited to have completed this first block. So guys, if you're still here, give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Leave a comment. If you're doing Moda Blockhead, let me know what you think about it. I've never done it. This is my first time ever doing Moda Blockhead. And I really do like this. This is a I have looked at the block that was released this week, and it is also beautiful. So, leave me a comment. I do respond personally to each and every comment. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.